You've probably heard of compound interest, the rule of 72, or the power of leverage. But there's a rule that sits beneath all of them, a rule so fundamental, so overlooked, that most people go their entire lives without recognizing it operates in everything they do. This is the rule that changes everything. And if you're serious about understanding how the world really works, you need to know it. So if you want to stay ahead of the curve on hidden systems that shape your life, hit subscribe now and let's dive in. The rule we're talking about is called the principle of incremental advantage. It's not flashy. It won't make headlines. You won't see it on financial news channels or hear it in boardrooms, at least not explicitly, but it's the invisible force behind every major success story you've ever read about. Let me explain what it is, how it works, and most importantly, why it matters to you right now. At its core, the principle of incremental advantage says this: small, consistent, deliberate improvements compound over time into extraordinary results. That's it. That's the rule. But understanding those 5 words is the difference between a life of mediocrity and a life of significance. Let's start with the word incremental. Incremental means small, not revolutionary, not dramatic. Small. 1% better. 1 word learned in a new language. 1 page read. 1 conversation with someone smarter than you. 1 small decision that moves you slightly forward. Most people reject this idea immediately. They want transformation, not incremental change. They want to go from broke to rich overnight. They want to go from out of shape to athletic in 2 weeks. They want to master a skill in 30 days. The culture we live in celebrates the overnight success, the viral moment, the sudden breakthrough. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Overnight successes are illusions. They're the visible tip of a massive iceberg of incremental work that happened years before anyone noticed. When you see someone crushing it at their craft, what you're actually seeing is the result of 2, 5, sometimes 10 years of 1% improvements that nobody was watching. This is where consistency comes in. Consistency is boring. Consistency doesn't feel like progress. You make 1 small improvement today, and tomorrow nothing has changed. A week goes by and you feel the same. A month goes by and outwardly your life looks identical. But what's happening beneath the surface is exponential. Your knowledge is growing. Your skills are hardening. Your network is expanding. Your mindset is shifting. The compounding is silent and invisible until one day it isn't. You look in the mirror and you barely recognize yourself. People around you ask, "What happened to you? How did you become so good at this?" And the honest answer is that they missed the entire journey. They only saw the arrival. Now the 3rd word is deliberate. This is crucial because not all consistency is created equal. You can consistently do something and get nowhere. You can practice a skill wrong 1,000 times and still be terrible at it. Deliberate means intentional. It means you're not just going through the motions. You're thinking about every action. You're identifying what works and what doesn't. You're adjusting. You're being honest about your weaknesses and addressing them directly. Deliberate improvement is what separates amateurs from professionals. It's the difference between someone who reads 1,000 books and learns nothing, and someone who reads 20 books and truly integrates the lessons. Deliberate means you're not just spending time, you're investing time. There's a massive difference. And then there's the final component: compound over time. Compounding is the 8th wonder of the world, according to Einstein, and for good reason. Compounding means that each improvement builds on the last one. It's not additive, it's multiplicative. 1% better today makes you slightly better equipped to get 1% better tomorrow. Small improvements create momentum. Momentum creates more improvements. More improvements create larger results. It's a flywheel, and flywheels, once they're spinning, become very hard to stop. The math is almost absurd when you actually calculate it. If you improve just 1% per day, in 1 year, you're not 1% better overall. You're 37 times better. That's the power of daily compounding. 37 times. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think the rule is about being perfect. They think it means never making mistakes, never having a bad day, never slipping up. That's not what incremental advantage means at all. It means making progress more often than you make regress. It means that in a week, 5 out of 7 days, you're moving forward. 2 days, you're neutral or slightly backward. And that's totally fine. The margin of progress is what counts. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine two people starting to learn to code. Person A watches YouTube tutorials every single day. They spend 2 hours learning. They write simple programs. They review their old code and improve it. They ask for feedback. They take breaks when they're burned out. They move steadily forward. Person B has the same talent and the same IQ, but person B is waiting for the perfect moment to start. They're waiting until they have more time. They're waiting until they understand the fundamentals better before they start really learning. They're waiting until they have a proper setup, the right computer, the right course. They're waiting. And while they're waiting, person A has spent 3 months coding. By month 6, person A is building real projects. They've encountered 100 problems and solved them. They've learned not just how to code, but how to think like a coder. Person B still hasn't started, but person B tells themselves that person A is just naturally talented, that person A got lucky, that person A had more time. That's the narrative we tell ourselves. The truth is, person A understood the principle of incremental advantage, and person B didn't. Now, why is this rule so powerful? Why does it change everything? Because it's universally applicable. It works in business, it works in relationships, it works in health. It works in finance, it works in creative pursuits, it works in spirituality, it works in learning. The principle doesn't care what domain you apply it to. 1% better at your job every single day, 1% better with your partner, 1% better at understanding yourself, 1% better physically. The compound effect is relentless. But there's something else that makes this rule so powerful. It's that it removes the burden of being exceptional from day one. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room right now. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be the most connected. You don't need to have all the answers. All you need to do is be slightly better today than you were yesterday. And then do it again tomorrow and the day after. That's the democratizing power of incremental advantage. It means that with consistency, deliberate effort, and time, an ordinary person can achieve extraordinary results. It means that your current circumstances don't determine your future. What determines your future is your commitment to small, consistent improvement. This is why the rule is hidden in plain sight. People don't want to hear it. They want to believe in talent. They want to believe in luck. They want to believe in overnight success. They want to believe that change is dramatic. Because dramatic change is exciting. Small change is boring, and boring doesn't sell. So we're not taught this rule. Instead, we're sold quick fixes and shortcuts and 90-day transformations. And when those don't work, we feel like failures. We feel like we're not cut out for success. We feel like we're missing something, but we're not missing anything. We're just operating under a false belief system. Once you understand incremental advantage, you see it everywhere. You see it in nature. A tree doesn't grow into a forest in a day. It grows one ring at a time. You see it in history. Every major innovation was built on thousands of small discoveries made by people before. You see it in your own life. Every skill you have, you built incrementally. You didn't wake up knowing how to walk or talk or read. You learned one small piece at a time. So the question isn't whether incremental advantage works. The question is whether you're going to use it. The real challenge of this rule is not understanding it. It's applying it. It's choosing to make small improvements even though nobody's watching. It's staying consistent even though you don't see immediate results. It's being deliberate even though it's harder than just going through the motions. It's committing to the compounding even though you'll be bored for the first few months. That's where most people fail. They get it intellectually, but they don't implement it. They don't actually do it. So here's what you need to do. Pick one area of your life where you want to improve. One area, not 10, not 5, one. It could be your career, it could be your health, it could be your finances, it could be your relationships. Pick one. Now commit to one small improvement in that area. Not a huge dramatic change. Something you can sustain. Something that takes 30 minutes or less per day. Something deliberate. And commit to it for 90 days. Just 90 days. See what happens. Because I'm telling you, after 90 days of incremental advantage, you will see results that surprise you. You'll be shocked at how far small, consistent action moves you forward. And by that point, the momentum will be real. You won't need motivation anymore. You'll see the compound effect working, and it will pull you forward. That's the moment everything changes. That's when the principle of incremental advantage stops being something you know and become something you live. That's the rule that changes everything. It's not complicated. It's not revolutionary. It doesn't require exceptional talent or luck or resources. It just requires commitment to small, consistent, deliberate improvement over time. If you found value in understanding this rule, and you want to discover more hidden principles that most people miss, please subscribe to the channel. We break down the systems and rules that shape your life, and I'd love to have you as part of this community. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.